Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the English Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Sophie.
And I'm Ryan. Hello, everyone. It is so good to be back here with you today.
It really is, Ryan. Today we have a topic that I think is going to help so many of our listeners. It's actually one of the most common questions we get in our comments section.
Oh, really? Which one is that? Let me guess. Is it how do I learn English in one day? Because I wish I knew the answer to that one.
No, not that one, although that would be nice. No, the question is, how can I practice English at home? A lot of people feel like they can't learn because they don't have a partner or they don't live in an English-speaking country.
Ah, yes, that is a huge one. I hear that all the time. People say, Ryan, I want to practice, but I live alone. Or my family doesn't speak English, so I have nobody to talk to. It can feel really lonely, right?
Exactly. It can feel impossible. But today, we are going to change that mindset. We are going to talk about exactly how you can practice English in your own room, in your pajamas, with a cup of tea, without needing anyone else.
I love that idea. Practicing in pajamas is my favorite kind of practice. But seriously, Sophie, is it really possible? Can you actually improve your speaking if you are just sitting at home?
Absolutely, Ryan. In fact, I think practicing at home is sometimes better than a classroom.
Whoa, really? Better than a classroom? That is a big statement. Why do you say that?
Well, think about it. In a classroom, you might be shy. You might be afraid of making mistakes in front of other students. But at home, it's your safe space. You can make a million mistakes and nobody will hear you. You can be loud, you can be silly, and that freedom actually helps you learn faster.
That is such a good point. I never thought about it like that. The pressure is gone when you're alone. So, okay, let's dive into this. If I am a student sitting in my bedroom right now, what is the first thing I should do?
Okay, so the first method is something I call self-talk.
Self-talk. You mean talking to myself like a crazy person?
Yes, exactly. Talk to yourself like a crazy person. But seriously, Ryan, this is powerful. It's about narrating your life. You know how a sports commentator talks about a game? He passes the ball, he runs, he scores.
Yeah, I love sports commentators.
Well, you need to be the commentator of your own life. When you are alone at home, just say what you are doing out loud. For example, if you're making breakfast, don't just do it in silence. Say, I am taking the eggs out of the fridge. I am cracking the egg. I am pouring the coffee.
I see. So simple sentences describing the action.
Exactly. It sounds funny, I know, but what you are doing is training your brain to think in English. Usually, we do these things and think in our native language, but if you force yourself to say it in English, you connect the action to the English words.
That makes a lot of sense. It connects the physical movement to the vocabulary. So instead of translating in your head, you're just living in English.
Yes, and you can do this anywhere. I am brushing my teeth. I am putting on my shoes. I am looking for my keys. It's basically free speaking practice, and you don't need a partner because you are the partner.
I love that. And you know what? I think that helps with confidence too. Because the first time you speak English, your mouth feels weird, right? The muscles aren't used to the shapes.
Oh, definitely. English requires different mouth movements than Spanish or Japanese or Hindi.
Right. So if you're walking around your house muttering, I am cleaning the window, I am opening the door, you're basically doing gym exercises for your mouth.
That is the perfect way to describe it, Ryan. It is a mouth gym, and nobody is judging you if you say window wrong. You just say it again. Window, window. I am opening the window.
Okay, I'm going to try that tonight when I cook dinner. I am burning the toast. That is usually what happens when I cook.
Well, at least you will be burning the toast in English. That's progress.
True. Okay, so self-talk is step one, talk to yourself. What is the second way we can practice at home?
The second way is focused on listening. But Ryan, it's not just listening, it's about immersion.
Immersion. That's a big word. What does that mean for our listeners?
Immersion basically means surrounding yourself with the language. Imagine you are in a swimming pool of English water. You want to be wet with English all the time.
I like that image, swimming in English. So how do we do that in our living room?
You have to change your environment. Listen to English every single day. And I don't mean just grammar lessons. Listen to podcasts like this one. Listen to YouTube videos. Listen to English songs.
What if I don't understand everything? That's a common fear. People say, Ryan, I listened to a news report and I only understood 50%. It was frustrating.
I totally get that frustration. But here's the secret. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
Not in the beginning. Even if you don't understand every word, your ears are working. Your brain is getting used to the rhythm, the intonation, the sounds of the language. It's like music. You might not know the notes, but you feel the beat.
That is really comforting. So just letting the sound wash over you is helpful?
Yes, we call this passive listening. You can do this while you're washing the dishes or folding laundry. Just play English in the background. But you should also do some active listening.
Okay, what is the difference?
Active listening is when you sit down, maybe for just 10 minutes, and you really focus. You listen to a short clip, maybe a 2-minute video, and you try to catch specific words. You can even try to write down what you hear.
Ah, like a dictation exercise.
Yes, and try to listen to different accents too. Don't just listen to Americans. Listen to British English, Australian, Indian English, because in the real world, English sounds different everywhere.
That is so true. I have a friend from Scotland, and the first time I met him, I thought he was speaking a different language. It took me a while to tune my ears to his accent. So practicing with different voices at home is a great idea.
Exactly. It makes your ears flexible. So we have self-talk and we have listening. Now let's move to the third method, which I think people often ignore.
Let me guess. Is it reading?
It is reading, but specifically reading out loud.
Reading out loud. Interesting. Why out loud? Why not just read silently in my head?
When you read silently, your brain can be lazy. You might skip over difficult words, or you might imagine the pronunciation is correct when it's actually wrong. But when you read out loud, you force your brain and your mouth to work together.
I see. So if I see the word comfortable and I read it silently, I might just skim it. But if I have to say it, I have to figure out, is it comfortable or comfortable?
Exactly. You catch your own gaps. Plus, reading loudly helps with flow. You learn where the sentences pause, where the voice goes up and down. It helps you sound less like a robot and more like a human.
But Sophie, reading can be boring for some people. They think they have to read a big, thick novel like Harry Potter or Shakespeare.
Oh, no, no. Please don't start with Shakespeare. That is the fastest way to give up. You should read what you enjoy. Read short stories. Read easy news articles. Actually, here's a tip. Read comments on Instagram or YouTube.
Really? Social media comments?
Yes, real people write those. It's conversational English. It's slang. It's how people actually talk. Read a caption on a post and then read the comments out loud. It's short, it's fast, and it's real English.
That is a brilliant tip. I spend way too much time on my phone anyway, so I might as well turn it into an English lesson.
Exactly. Turn your bad habits into good study habits.
I love that. Okay, so reading out loud helps our speaking and our structure. What is next? We have spoken to ourselves, listened, and read. Is there anything else?
Yes, the fourth way is writing. But again, let's keep it simple. I'm not talking about writing an essay or a book.
Phew, good, because I hated writing essays in school.
Me too, honestly. I'm talking about a daily journal or a diary. Just write a few sentences every day about your life.
Like, Dear Diary, today I ate a sandwich.
Yes, literally that simple. Today I woke up early. I felt tired. I drank coffee. The sun was shining.
Why does this help with speaking, though? If I'm writing, I am not speaking.
That's a great question. Writing is actually slow speaking. When you speak, you have to find the words instantly, right? It's fast. There's pressure.
Right, you don't have time to think.
But when you write, you have time. You can think, wait, is it I go to the park or I went to the park? You can check your grammar. You can build the sentence slowly. And once you build that sentence in your head while writing, it becomes easier to use it later when you are speaking.
Oh, I get it. It's like rehearsal. You are practicing the structure in slow motion so that later you can do it in fast motion.
Perfectly said, Ryan. It solidifies the patterns in your brain, and it's also really good for your mental health to write down your thoughts.
True, it's therapeutic. And you can look back after a month and see how much you've improved. You can see, oh wow, last month I only wrote 3 words. Now I can write a whole paragraph.
Yes, seeing your own progress is the best motivation. So get a small notebook, keep it by your bed, and just spend 5 minutes every night.
Okay, I'm going to buy a notebook today. Now, Sophie, I have heard of a technique called shadowing. Is that something we can do at home?
Yes, that is our fifth and probably most powerful method, shadowing. It's also called the copycat technique.
Copycat, like you copy exactly what someone else does.
Yes. Here's how it works. You find a short video, maybe a clip from a movie or a TED Talk, or even a video from our channel. You play a sentence, pause it, and then repeat it exactly like the speaker.
When you say exactly, do you just mean the words?
No, and this is the important part. You don't just copy the words. You copy the emotion, you copy the speed, you copy the pause, you copy the tone. If the speaker sounds angry, you sound angry. If they are whispering, you whisper.
So it's basically acting.
It is acting. You are pretending to be that person. This is amazing for pronunciation and intonation. A lot of students know the words, but they sound very flat. Shadowing makes you sound natural.
I've tried this before, and it's actually really fun. It feels a bit silly at first, repeating a movie line dramatically in your living room, but you really feel the rhythm of the language.
And because you are copying a native speaker, you stop translating. You just produce the sound. It helps you stop thinking in your own language.
I highly recommend our listeners try this with their favorite movie scenes. Pick a character you like and try to become them for 5 minutes.
Definitely. So, Ryan, those are 5 really strong methods: self-talk, listening, reading out loud, writing, and shadowing. But there's one more thing we need to discuss. It's not a method, it's a mindset.
What is that?
The fear of making mistakes.
Ah, the big enemy, the fear.
Yes, even at home, people are afraid to make mistakes. They think, if I speak wrong, I'm failing.
We need to destroy that idea right now. Listen to me, friends. Mistakes are not bad. Mistakes are necessary.
Amen to that. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall down 100 times. Do we say, oh, look at that stupid baby, he can't walk? No, we say, good job, get up, try again.
Exactly. You are the baby in this scenario. You are learning a new skill. If you don't make mistakes, it means you aren't trying anything new.
Every mistake is a lesson. If you say a sentence wrong and then you realize it, you just learned something. You just got stronger. So please be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up.
And remember, even native speakers make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I stumble over my words. I use the wrong grammar sometimes when I'm speaking fast. It's normal. Communication is more important than perfection.
That is the golden rule. connection over perfection.
So, Sophie, we have given them the tools, but how do they fit this into their busy lives? Everyone is so busy these days. Work, family, studies. How do we find time?
You don't need hours and hours, Ryan. That's a myth. You just need consistency, small steps.
Small steps. I like that.
Imagine a routine. Can you give yourself 30 minutes a day? Just 30 minutes.
I think everyone can find 30 minutes. Maybe wake up 15 minutes early and do 15 minutes before bed.
Exactly. Spend 10 minutes listening while you commute or make breakfast. Spend 10 minutes talking to yourself or shadowing. Spend 10 minutes reading or writing before sleep. That's it.
It's like planting a tree, right? You water it a little bit every day. You don't dump a whole bucket of water on it once a month.
That's a beautiful metaphor, Ryan. Yes, if you water it every day, slowly, the roots grow deep, the branches grow strong. You might not see the change in one day, but after a month, you look at the tree and say, wow, look how much it has grown.
And the same happens with your English. One day, suddenly, you will realize, hey, I understood that movie without subtitles. Or, hey, I just spoke to that tourist without thinking.
And that is the best feeling in the world, that feeling of freedom.
It really is. So, Sophie, let's recap for our amazing listeners.
You don't need a ticket to London or New York. You don't need a fancy teacher. You have everything you need right there in your home.
You have your voice, you have your ears, and you have the internet. Use self-talk to narrate your day. Listen to content that interests you. Read out loud to train your mouth muscles. Write a simple diary to organize your thoughts. And use shadowing to copy the natural flow of English.
And most importantly, don't be afraid. Embrace the mistakes. Have fun with it. Make it a game.
Yes, if you're having fun, you will learn twice as fast. Well, Sophie, I feel inspired. I think I'm going to go home and narrate my dinner preparation tonight. Ryan is chopping the onions. Ryan is crying because of the onions.
Oh no. Well, at least you'll be crying in English.
That's the spirit.
Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We really hope these tips help you feel more confident about practicing at home.
Yes, thank you for listening. You guys are amazing. Remember, you can do this. We believe in you.
If you liked this episode, please do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this with a friend who is also learning English. Maybe you can practice together. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel English Practice Podcast so you don't miss our next conversation.
We have some great topics coming up soon, so stay tuned. Keep learning, keep smiling, and keep improving every single day.
See you in the next video. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.